In this video, we'll talk about the H1 tag and the heading tags in general. So as you can obviously tell, an H1 is a heading 1 tag. A page can have up to 6 heading tags as defined in the HTML attributes, and they are in the ascending order of importance. So obviously H1 being the most important heading in the page and H6 being the least important heading on the page. In addition to the headings, you also have the body text, usually a P tag or a paragraph tag, which would be the normal text on the page. Now, one of the best ways to get the outline of the page or to see which ones are headings on a page is to use a extension called the web developer extension. And this is how it looks. And you can obviously get this extension by simply Googling web developer extension, and you will get the first one, which is the Chrome one, and obviously you can also get one for Firefox. Now, once you've gotten the extension and you are on the page where you want to outline and see what the H1 of the page is, you simply click the extension and click on this link called View Document Outline. Once I click on the View Document Outline, I can see that the H1 of that page was the ultimate guide to search engine optimization in the bracket SEO, and then further breaks down the content of the page into various titles. So if I go back and have a look, and as you can see, what is SEO is a title. There's about the author, which is another title, and as you continue down the page, there are many titles on this page. If I look back, H1, which describes the primary topic of the page, and then further breaks down into what is SEO, about the author, how to do SEO, anatomy of a search engine, and so on and so forth. And H2 is subsequently broken down into H3. So, within this section of document structure on page SEO, we have H3, so URL slug, H1 tag, which are all part of this main topic, which is document structure. And document structure on page SEO is in turn a part of the main subject, which is this heading at the top. Now, as you can see, there's an H4 here as well, which is bold, italics, and underline, which is a part of the topic body text. So as you can see, a page can have up to 6 heading tags, with H1 being the most important because H1 describes the primary topic of the page. Now, how can you tell which is the H1? Obviously, one which is using a web developer extension, but the other one, the easier way is is usually you simply right click any title and click on inspect. And as you can see here on that title tag, as you can see, if I bring this down to a desktop version, as you can see, it says H1 class and goes on to describe what the title is. So two of the most common obvious way of telling what is the H1 of the page. What are the best practices? So obviously only use one H1 on the page because you don't want to confuse Google of what the title or the primary topic of this page is. The topic of your page should be described through the H1. So do not, have unrelated or unnecessary words when you describe the title of the page. Ideally, your H1 should also be the title of the page because obviously it's the one with bigger fonts. It's the one that's the highlight of the page. Now, Google does use H1 for the titles. So if I hop on to Google and type in SEO, and I notice some of these, So you can see search engine optimization SEO guide, which is not the same in my case, but it does sometimes use the H1 for the titles, which is the line in blue, often as the topic of the page. And if you can, you should ideally match your H1 to the title tag of the page. We also call them meta titles, if at all. So, how do you explain the H1 to a layman? The best way to explain the H1 to a layman is that the H1 is the primary topic of the page. If you're reading an article or if you're reading any form of content, the first line, or the most obviously the title, should accurately describe what the article or the content is all about. And if it fails to describe what the article or the content is all about, then that will not be a very relevant reading or neither a relevant experience for the user. So H1 is the most obvious topic of the page, and you should try and accurately and concisely describe the topic of the page within the H1.